Hey everyone, it is April 22nd, 2019, and welcome to another Brooklyn Baritone podcast. All right. Thank you for joining me today. As you know, I always talk about uplifting things, social issues, anything that's dealing with proper development. That's the main goal, is proper development spiritually, mentally, personally, professionally, all that good stuff. But first, you got to get the spiritual and mental down. Everything else is going to follow. Now, of course, when you want to try and establish yourself as a person to be of great things, we have to have a strong foundation. You know, when you're a child, you have to be taught and brought up in the right ways. You have to have the right things around you, the right people around you. You also need, as a child, as an adult, you need a foundation, a home base, because that is the place that's going to provide you the means of protection, of comfort, of peace. And it's always going to give you a place to recharge and a place that you could, get all your stuff. It's a place you're going to plan all your things. It's a place where you're going to sleep. And that is a very sacred place. So we all have to know where we're going to lay our heads at night or the day or whatever time we go to sleep or so choose to rest. Because that's the place where we eat, where we commune with our families. For those who have families, that's where we wash up and shower ourselves. We make sure our hygiene is supposed to be good. You have to make sure everything is nice, no crust in your eye, your breath is not kicking. You make sure that your clothes are nice and pressed before you get outside. You understand what I'm saying. Your home is a very special place. It is your fort. It is your sanctuary. It's supposed to be your sanctuary. This is why we always try and look at getting our homes in order. Well, anyways, for the many of us that are blessed to know where we're going to lay our heads tonight, there are so many people out there in the world, in this country, that are homeless. They don't have anywhere to rest their heads. They have nowhere to accumulate whatever things or resources. They have nowhere where they have to be called a sanctuary, nowhere to prepare foods, meals, nowhere to really shower with comfort, with knowing they could just have their things laid out. They could shower as long as they need to, as long as they want to, without having any kind of threats or any kind of rules imposed on them. So the reason why, as I open up this podcast about homelessness, is because we all need a place to rest our heads, basically, where we're going to feel safe, where we're going to have the resources needed. We can have that freedom to, be ourselves, to be open. Everyone deserves that, to feel safe around other people, and especially just a state of being. And if you don't have that, that has some very, very, very big consequences, individually and communally, as a nation, and ultimately globally. Because if you have people who are homeless, they're going through some things. We go through our own things. Some things are big, some things are small, but at least, if anything, we have somewhere where we can lay our head. And so much of us take that for granted. Now, I'm going to look at homelessness. I didn't look at it at a global scale, but just to give you a little picture of what we're dealing with here. In the U.S., that's in 2018. The source I got this from is HUDexchange.info. There are over 552,000 people in America that were homeless. 552,000 people that do not or did not have a place to lay their heads at night. They didn't have anywhere to prepare food where they could go to the supermarket or grocery store, bring something back, put it in the refrigerator, and have a stove where they could prepare a meal for themselves, or even fast food they could sit down and eat in front of the television. 552,000 people that didn't have anywhere to shower on the regular basis. in the comfort of their own homes or apartments or condos or whatever it is, where people lay their head to recharge themselves, to regroup their thoughts, to feel safe ultimately, and to have peace, which is very important. That's over 500,000 people. And it could be well more than that too, because these are recorded cases that we know of. So I'm very certain there are a lot more people that are undocumented, citizen or not. That's a lot of people, because when you come across one person that's homeless, if you are someone who has a heart or a conscience, you would feel something in your gut that this is not right. You know this person deserves better. You know that this person here, because everyone deserves to have a place of their own, or at least somewhere they can go to where they're confident, where they feel safe and they feel peace. So if you come across one person, you feel it, that you know they need, and you know you would probably like to give something to help them in some way, shape, or form, any little way you can. Now, I'm going to fine tune it now because this is going on my website, Brooklyn Baritone. So we're going to talk about Brooklyn, New York City. Okay, here's some numbers from New York City. The source that I got this information from, these numbers are from the Coalition for the Homeless.org. Okay, and it's stating that I believe in 2018, bleeding over to 2019, we have reached the highest levels of homelessness since the Great Depression. That's from the 1930s. And most of us who know history, at least a little bit of the Great Depression, stock market just crashed. It's the first major economic downfall of the civilized and industrial world, at least here in America. So we got back to these numbers now. And that's saying a very bad thing about where we are communally. Okay, I'm just going to go with a couple more numbers before, I get more on track with my podcast here. And there were about 133,284, again, documented. This is documented. So over 130,000 people were homeless in 2018. That's a lot of people. So we had the national average of a little over 552,000 in New York. There's like 133,000. It's like a fifth. This country is very big. Don't get it twisted. This country is very big, but of course, New York's one of the more heavily populated cities. So they're taking a whole fifth of the weight of homelessness in this country. And I know LA is, I believe, bearing the brunt. I don't know the numbers, but I have been reading up on that, and they have a serious number of homeless people out there. So we're going to look at one of the reasons why, because I know most people, they automatically dismiss the idea of people being homeless due to their own faults. Because you have to remember, I'm always talking about how we replace the human value with the value of money. So we look up to money. We respect people who have money. We're in the pursuit of money on the regular, which kind of derails our focus on what life is supposed to be. Hence why so much of us don't aspire or even get the chance to grow to the potential that's in us, because we're busy chasing money under that weight of money. And this is one of the direct consequences of putting value in monetary means and currency other than human value. So now we have people now, because of economics and finances, not evenly distributed. It's a problem. No matter what kind of formulas or what kind of explanations, when it comes down to it, the finances are not divvied up evenly at all, especially when you matched up to people's skill sets. But let me continue. Now, researching shows that the primary causes of homelessness, or the cause, is lack of affordable housing. That right there, we all know what it is, especially living in New York or just across the country, even other parts of the world. The lack of affordable housing, that speaks volumes of what we're doing to care for each other. Why is it that housing is not affordable? Now, in America, we definitely earn a lot more in compared to many other countries that are impoverished, that are technically what they call third world countries or nations or areas. There are people who would gladly take 1/8 of what we have over here. But that doesn't mean things are great and hunky-dory over here. There are a lot of people, decent people, hardworking people, people who have goodness in their heart to overall do their best in life and for their family and whoever else they come across in life. They pursue careers, they pursue degrees, people get bachelors, they get masters, they get PhDs, and a lot of these people don't even get to follow through with the industry and profession they studied for, or even if they do, many people still holding degrees don't earn what they believe, or most of us would believe they should be earning. Now, the following causes are eviction, right, which is, of course, keeping up with your payments, doubled up or severely overcrowded housing, domestic violence, which of course will displace women and children, job loss under, again, another economic and financial pitfall, and hazardous housing conditions. Now, when we talk about domestic violence, we think about, of course, men, and many women and children will be displaced. Unfortunately, though, the truth is that there are more men that are displaced out of homes, being homeless, than there are women. So when I look at the cause of so many things, one of my past podcasts, the title was "What's Wrong with Men?" Again, that's just another strike against men being the backbone to society. The men are not there and present in the proper way in the house, then everything else is going to fall. As we can see, if you can see the writing on the wall, or if you have at least a little bit of common sense, you would be able to see and understand why we are in such a degraded state of existence. Now, we look at lack of affordable housing, eviction, and job loss. We're looking in New York City, and well, they say the sources I have here are from Yahoo Finance and smartasset.com. The average income in New York City is between $55,000 and $60,000 per year. Now, personally, I know people who make more than that, and I know people who make less than that. But overall, a lot of people are around that mark. And that might be good compared to other states, other countries, but we're talking about New York right now. And then we're also talking about what we're looking at this disparity of the wealth. And the average rent in New York City is between $25,000, almost there though, $2,500 per month to $3,000. Now, there are places that cost more. Very rare you would see somewhere this day and age that costs less. Now, if you break that down with the $55,000, of course, this is gross. This is not net. This is, before taxes. But the rent is still going to be the same. And then you also, have other costs as well, which makes your options pretty slim. And some people, again, make less than this. A lot of people make less than this. Or even so, if you don't have any other expenses, this is going to be very hard to maintain. Now, overall, I threw these numbers, these solid numbers from these sources, just to show us a window, at least in New York City, and it's widespread too, across this country and the world, that many people don't have a place to rest their head. And even though many people may technically have somewhere to rest their head, a proper foundation, a home base for them, they have to worry about making ends meet. They have to worry about paying that next rent because New York, you have to go through a few steps as a landlord to evict someone. Other states, it doesn't take much at all. You probably just come late one time, they could throw you out. That is a very daunting and heavy weight for anyone to be walking around with. The thing is, we have to always think beyond us. And even if you may not be able in the position or feel you're not in the position to help other people, keep in mind to always be grateful for what you have. Be grateful to have a place to lay and sleep, because that is so important. I talk about this just to give a little bit more awareness of the things that we lack as a people. These are your brothers and sisters out here, no matter what the ethnicity is or what amount of money they earn or don't earn. The value is not in the dollars, because if people aren't making a certain amount of money, or you flop in life because of your finances, people automatically say it's you, it's on you. That's not my problem. We have to understand this is everyone's problem. If we have one homeless person on the street, then we're failing somewhere. If we have people who are undereducated and cannot compete in this world as a productive member of society in a manner of industry or strengths or talents, we were failing. Again, bringing up that past podcast, What's Wrong with Men? I talk about developing men properly, not just as men, it goes with women too. As a society, we are all responsible. This value in money has displaced that, so we're all trying to get our own stuff in order, and never mind everybody else, because we have enough stress to pay the bills, to pay the rent, to pay mortgage, to put food on a family's table. We put that, unfortunately, above the needs of other people, because we could be doing okay, but we could at least look into helping other people. There are a lot of different organizations out there, and I could definitely be doing more to help these people out there, because it could easily be me or any one of us that's caught up out there. Unless you're like a millionaire right now, it could be any one of us, and we all probably do at least know one person that is homeless or was homeless, at least within a 6 degree of separation of knowing people. So it's good to be mindful to at least give your time. If you could give money, that's good, because money can always be translated to resources for people out there. But you have to remember too, when people are out there, it does something to the psyche. It does something to the mentality of people out there. Some people they already have, issues, emotional or mental issues. But being homeless, that destroys people so much. Some people can't take that. Some people actually commit suicide over that. Unfortunately, they become outcasts. So there are means to help. Not all those means are the greatest, and some of them you have to look for the good ones, far and few between, but there are a lot of people out there, organizations who are looking to help people, not just to give a handout, but hopefully give people enough to get back on their feet, because it's not just about being a productive member of society, but you have to be productive for yourself. We were put here for a purpose, put here to take care of each other, to take care of this extended kingdom from the Creator, from Elohim. That's what it's about. It's about dominion. Money and the pursuit of money makes everything domination, which is the perverted or the abusive form of dominion. Dominion, as I always will say, is that you are responsible for everything that you survey. That means you're responsible for yourself, for your family, for your neighbor, not necessarily a person who lives next door to you, but anyone that you come across. These are our brothers and sisters. These are our kings and queens who are supposed to share in the wealth and the caretaking of this kingdom, the extended kingdom that is in heaven, that the Father's sitting in. We are an extension of Him. We're supposed to represent Him properly. Money, He didn't make money. We made money as a means to have a system of barter, but it's also been used as control, as you can see. It's not really fair that many people make billions of dollars of money, but then the same workers who put in that effort for that CEO or whatever, they're not getting the same handout. So there definitely are some imbalanced practices that are being practiced here. We all know it. The best you can do is be the best that you can be, so you can help other people as best as you possibly can, or just possibly give your best as when you can. Now, if you're not in a position like that, mentally, financially, whatever, don't overextend yourself. But think about it. Grow yourself. It's all about growing you to help others grow. Give your best as best you possibly can when you can. Be your best. So you put your best you out there, and your best you is going to resonate with other people, and they will also try to be their best as well. That's how it works. Everything is energy transfer. We all have a responsibility. Think of these numbers. Think of the reality of people that are living like this. Think if you were living in the streets, if you had nowhere to go. That's a terrible thing. And if anything, we should have a place where even if people didn't have a set place to live, there should be more than enough places where they have sanctuary, where they were welcome, where they felt safe. But that's not the case. Think about all these things. Go forward, build yourself, do wonderful things. Think of your brothers and sisters. Think of your fellow kings and queens, because you are a king and you are a queen. Real kings and real queens, they take care of everything and everyone around them. This is King Corey Ashley signing off. Thank you for listening. Again, listen for more fresh weekly podcasts I put out. I will see you in the future. You will hear from me in the future. Be blessed, everyone. Love you all.